You know what to do to sell cars. You even know how to sell cars. But why do we do certain things in order to sell cars? The Heisman Trophy. Okay, now that's awarded annually to the collegiate player deemed the most outstanding in collegiate sports. Okay, how does the Heisman Trophy have anything to do with selling cars? Look at this. Here's the pose of the Heisman Trophy. The player's running down the field, stiff-arming the opponent, clutching the football as he looks back, keeping this guy at distance. Now picture a customer coming onto the lot, getting out of his car. He strikes the Heisman pose. Not physically, but mentally. He gets out of that car. No, I'm just looking. I'm not buying today. He keeps you at distance. He's got his defensive mechanisms up. And he's clutching onto his billfold. He don't want you to get his money. That's one way it does, but also just football in general. Let's look at the basics. You always have to master the basics in football. Football has an objective. The players and the coaches and everybody, their objective is to get more points than the opponent. And that's how they win the game. So they block, they tackle, and they score more points. Okay, that's their objective. In car sales, we kind of have the same thing. So what basics do we have to master in order to sell a car, to close a deal? We have to have a perceived value higher than the cost of a car. Okay, it's really simple. I mean, you're going to you're going to set up some negotiations with the customers, you're going to handle all their objections, you're going to ask them for the business, and you're going to close the sale. So we have basically the same thing. In a football, you score more points than the opponent. When you sell a car, you have to raise the perceived value higher than the cost of the car. Now the other two components is blocking and tackling. That's pretty simple. You get a wide stance, you lower your body, you lower your center of gravity, you bend your knees. Those are blocking and tackling fundamentals. We have fundamentals in selling cars, two basics that we must have to do too. We have to build value, as we just talked about, above the cost of the car. But we first, before we build value, I mean, we're a car salesman, nobody's going to believe us. We have to build trust. So we have to build some trust with the customer before we talk about value. Then we can close the sale. So let's talk about trust. We're going to build some rapport. We're going to lower the customer's resistance, okay? Break down these barriers. We're going to gain control of this process. But it all starts with the meeting and greeting. You're going to shake that customer's hand, you're going to greet them and meet them and everything else. But right before that, something very important is that all-important first impression. That first impression, when the customer gets out of the car, is what he sees. He's going to see two salesmen running across the showroom, a guy jumping out from behind the car, and two guys putting their cigarettes out and trying to race to you. This is what he sees. That's his first impression. Now, you don't have control of that situation, but you do have control of what you look like. If you get there first, if you're the salesman that they're going to be talking to, their first impression of you is everything from your head to your toe. How you look, your appearance. So you don't get a second chance to make this first impression, and you've heard that before. But have you heard this? Pay attention to this. Whenever you look less, anything less, than your absolute best, you're inviting criticism. Again, I'm going to say that again. When you look anything less than your absolute best, you're inviting criticism. That criticism comes from the customer. You may not see it, you may not hear it. But they're going to, I don't want to buy a car from this guy. I mean, he smells like an ashtray. I just want to go home. And that's in their mind this whole time. You know, the guy's got dirt under his nails. He's not professional. So whenever you look less than what you absolutely best, you're inviting criticism. Now, let's go back. You want to build some trust, build some rapport, warm up to your customer, show some sincere interest. You know, listen to what they say. Actively listen. How do you actively listen? Mr. Customer, that sounds very important to you. Do you mind if I write that down? And you write down those things. You write down that he's going to take his mother-in-law to church on Sunday, and then after that they go eat, and they need that wheelchair to have space in the car for the wheelchair. So you're going to actively listen. You can go on from there, and he's going to drive the car and everything else. So that's how you build trust, is by actively listening, warming up to the customer. After we build trust, now we have the opportunity, we've earned the right to build some value. And everybody thinks building value is product knowledge. There's three things to building value. We must build value in our dealership, build value in ourselves, and most importantly, build value in the car that we're going to sell them, the vehicle we're going to sell them. But let's think about this. There's 5 buying decisions that a customer must make. 5 buying decisions. 3 of them he's already made by showing up at your dealership. The first buying decision, number 1, is he has to have a need or a want. He obviously has a need. He has to have a product that he's interested in, the X100. And your dealership, sure enough, sells X100, so he has a place to go. So the need, the product, and the place, the want, the brand, and the dealership, he's already made those decisions. He's on your lot. All you have to do is reinforce those. This is how we build value. The 4th buying decision is real simple. It's price. If you've done the first 3, price falls into place. You've built value above the cost, and price is no longer an issue, and the time to buy is now. There's the 5 buying decisions. Done. Now, let's look at when the customer, you want to build dealership value. How do you do that? You're going to be walking on the lot. You're going to show him the inventory. He's going to be looking at cars. You walk him right through the service department. You introduce him to the service manager. Give him a little bit of history on the car, on the dealership itself. Show him the awards on the wall with the service technicians and everything else. You're building value in the dealership. As you do this orientation walk, you can show them where their car is going to be brought up after service, where the keys will be, where they can get them in the cashier's window, and also that their car is going to be washed. The service manager's got 32 years here. Build some service value with this customer. After you have built up value in the dealership, you've already done most of the building up of value in yourself through the building of trust stage. The only thing you need to do now is do a controlled presentation. Just stay on track with this customer, and you will maintain control, and they will think highly of you, the person. Number 3, the value of the vehicle. That's going to be real easy. It's got 5,000 parts. You need to target your demonstration and presentation towards that customer's hot buttons. He's already told them to you. You actively listened and wrote them down. You're going to repeat back to him those very words and how this vehicle will do this. So in summary, it's really simple. The customer basically strikes the Heisman Trophy pose when he gets out of the car. Mentally, they don't want to have anything to do with you. They want to keep you at a distance and hold on to their money. That is why, that is the most important reason why we have to have a game plan. We have to stick to the basics. So, thank you for your time. Go sell some cars, have some fun, and make some money.